Okay, tell me if this is you. The website you most frequent is realtor.ca. You're on there day and night, you are scrolling, you're looking for a deal, but your eyes glaze over. Days on market, price per square foot, you're looking at this property, and what about foreclosures? Have you considered those? Okay, I got you in this video. Because how do you know what to look for? There's so many things that would make a property a great deal. So you are in luck. In this video, I'm gonna break down how I find great deals for my clients on the MLS. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is about real estate in Vancouver and surrounding areas, subscribe below. Tap the bell for notifications to be the first to learn what's going on in the current market. My name is Megan Becker, local realtor with eXp Realty. Myself and my team get calls every day from people looking to move to or invest in this incredible city. So whether you're looking to make a move in 9 days or 90 days, give me a call, text, or email, and I'm excited to help you purchase in the greatest city in Canada. Okay, now let's talk about finding a good deal. So step number one is we actually have to define what a deal is, because a deal can mean different things in the context of whatever market you are shopping in. I'll use a few examples. A lot of people associate a good deal with money, getting something under list price or getting something that you know is going to appreciate. It's associated with money. But depending on whatever market that you're shopping in, a good deal might just be getting your offer accepted and getting into a market. And I had this conversation with clients in the last handful of years because in a very hot seller's market, which we've experienced in the last handful of years here in Vancouver, the good deal was getting into the market because Vancouver has traditionally experienced year-over-year appreciation. I mean, year-over-year, we're up 3 to 5% depending on what areas that you are looking in. And so in this case, I had to recalibrate clients' expectations because they were used to shopping in a different market where their mindset was like, we don't pay over list. But this is a different market, and so we had to have a conversation of what that looked like. The good deal in this case, we found them an incredible building. They were looking for an investment. It was one of the top buildings here in the downtown core that I like for a lot of reasons. And we were able to get a really great price on a unit there, and a great price meaning compared to what is selling around. And it wasn't in relation to list price, because a lot of seller strategies right now is they're pricing below market value in order to drive up prices. So if you're buying in that type of market, you're not getting a property under list price. List price doesn't really mean a lot. You really have to understand what are similar properties selling for and what's going on in the actual market. So a good deal in this case was a really phenomenal building in a great location and getting into a very competitive market. A good deal might be finding a distressed property in an amazing location with really great bones because you want to either flip it or you have the experience, you want to be able to reno it and put in some sweat equity, add value to the property, and make a return on it that way. So it's finding that right property there. A good deal might be a foreclosure. Sometimes I think people go at foreclosures with the misconception that they're always a great deal. But in my experience, they're not always a great deal. There is context that needs to be understood. You need to understand where they are at in the foreclosure process. You need to understand the actual condition of the home, because a lot of times properties that are being foreclosed on aren't very well taken care of. And so you have to factor in the lower list price to what you're actually going to have to do to remedy that property. And sometimes it might actually not make sense from a financial standpoint. The next definition of a great deal, it might be buying in an area or a market that is poised for appreciation. There's an area in the greater Vancouver area called Burquitlam, and I believe that it's going to be kind of the next metro town in and Brentwood, which are two very popular areas in Burnaby that have experienced huge growth. But right now, Burquitlam, there's a lot of newer buildings there. There's a lot of pre-sales there. It's pretty raw. There's a lot of concrete. There's a lot of public transportation there. So it's one of those things that we can find some really great deals, but where you're going to see your return is likely more on a 5-year period when that area gets developed and built out. There's more amenities and there's more more green space and things like that coming to the area. Another definition of a great deal is finding a property that's going to cash flow. And obviously, a great deal can include getting something at a really, really great price, maybe even potentially below list price. And at the time of this recording, which is February of 2024, I'm still seeing a lot of stale inventory that hit the market before Christmas that sellers, they do need to sell. We're seeing properties that are 40 plus days on market, even properties that have been on the market for the better part of a year. And they're hanging out there, they're stale, they've gone through maybe multiple price reductions. So those are the properties that we can likely get that really good deal on and get something below list price. Okay, so now that we've defined what a deal is, because I think we need context to understand what we are actually looking for, because I've had lots of clients say like, send me a good deal, and what might be a good deal to me might not be a good deal to someone else, because it also depends what your goals are and what your resources are. If you don't have a ton of resources to put for a down payment, you are going to be limited on what type of deal that you're going to be able to go after. If your goals are something specific here, you need to find that deal that's in line with your goals. Because if the deal isn't in line with your goals and your resources, then, it's just a missed opportunity. It's like, that's cool for somebody else. And so we want to understand what's your goal and what are your resources and find a good deal that's in line with that. So step number 2 is jumping on the MLS. What am I actually looking for here? So on a high level perspective here, like I mentioned, I want to find properties that have high days on market, the DOMs. So this is how long a property has been sitting. And I always tell this to people. The longer that a property has been sitting on the market, the more in the driver's seat the buyer is. The seller is going to have to be negotiable when it comes to price if they want their property to sell. And I was able to find a really great deal for some clients. We actually started looking in December, which is one of my favorite months to find good deals on properties, because a lot of people they're focused on the holidays. They're, maybe traveling or going elsewhere. They're not in the, house buying spirit per se. And so we were able to find a property that had been on the market for about 40 or so days, and it had gone through one price reduction. The sellers needed to move because they were relocating due to work, and they were adding a member to the family. So there was a couple different motivations there, and we were able to get a property quite a bit under list. And my clients on the buy side, they were in the driver's seat because they didn't have a hard timeline to move. And I said, we can play hardball here. And we were able to get a really great deal on a property. And we removed subjects the week between Christmas and New Year's and closed on the property at the middle of January. After I look at properties that have a high days on market, the next thing I want to do is I want to filter it out for a low price per square foot. So those are the properties that we're going to be able to isolate more dollar for square footage. And then those two things paired together are going to give us the opportunity to, one, be more in the driver's seat as a buyer and potentially get more for our dollar amount. So the next thing they'll do is, if clients are looking to add value to the property, they either want to flip or they want to do a BRRRR, which is they buy, reno it, and then rent and refinance and repeat. They want to add value to the property to some extent. I actually have current clients right now. They're looking for a property that they can add some value to, do some light reno work, and then live in it for a couple years and sell within the next 2 to 3 years. So it is a flip, it's not a quick flip. But I always say real estate is a long game, so we're still looking at these properties with the lens of flipping. And so what I'm looking for is properties that are basically in distress. They're either really outdated, they need some work, they need some TLC. And that's what my clients want to be able to do. And so I'm looking at those properties, I'm isolating those, and then what I'm looking for is the properties that are selling that are renovated. So that after repair value, the ARV. So figuring out what is the gap there. So if current property that we are looking at is on the market for 1.2 million and clients believe it's going to take about, let's say, 75,000 to reno it and get it up to standard, we want to figure out, okay, what are comparable reno properties selling for, and is the client happy with that spread there? Do those numbers make sense? And so I'll send the clients the properties that are on the market, and then I'll send them the after repair value comps so that they can make that decision. They can run their numbers and figure out, is there enough? And lots of times I'll get an idea. I always like to ask my clients, how do you run your numbers so that we can get on the same page? What are you actually looking for? What are your costs? What are the types of renos that you are willing to do? And what's that gap that you want to see in value there? And then number 3 of finding good deals is working with a knowledgeable realtor. I've had quite a few conversations recently with clients that they really appreciate the hands-on and proactive approach I take when working with buyers. They use a handful of examples, and multiple people have said this to me. They're like, my previous realtor just put me up on this automatic search and was waiting for me to send properties. I was basically leading the transaction. I was the one sending the realtor the properties. And I'm like, oh, it's not what you're hiring them to do. And I make a joke. I'm like, you're not hiring me to be a tour guide and write your contract. You're hiring me to understand your goals and what your resources are and match a property to that. And so every single day I'm on the MLS, I'm looking at properties that are coming to market. I'm looking at what is selling, and I'm understanding where deals can happen, because I know all my clients' motivation and I know their resources. So if I can match make them with a deal and send that to them, that's what they're hiring me to do. And you want to find a realtor that is playing that proactive role and is doing all that work. It's not up to you to scour the MLS. I mean, some people love doing it. I love looking at nice properties, but it's not up to you to scour the MLS and, be consumed with all that stuff, unless you want to. I'm happy to, kind of do that hand in hand with clients. I know some of them like that, but I'll do all that grunt work first and then send you the properties. You can look at all of these properties that need some renos, and then you can run your spreadsheets, and I'll send you the ARV comps, and we can work on that together. So that's my last piece of advice, is finding somebody that understands your goals, your resources, understands how to properly analyze properties, and has the connections as well. I've got connections with property managers, I've got connections with mortgage brokers, I've got connections with property inspectors, I've got connections with builders and contractors, so that we can help you get an understanding of, okay, if you don't have a contractor here, like, what would it actually cost? What's a rough price per square footage on what I'm looking at a total reno here? Or what's a rough cost to add a suite and then maybe redo all of the flooring? What would that actually look like? And so I have all those contacts that I'm happy to connect with you so that you can make sense of this great deal that I'm finding you. So that about wraps up the video. I hope this had value to you and you understand what a good deal is, how to define that for yourself, and how to find a really great realtor that is going to get to know you and pair you with the right deal that matches your circumstances. So if you're curious about what that looks like, about finding that in the greater Vancouver area, all my info is in the description box below, and I would love to have a conversation and get to know you and understand what you're looking for. And until next time, one of my favorite things to do in the evening is take a walk on the seawall. So I'm heading out, grabbing my umbrella and a cup of tea, and going for a walk on the seawall.